Welcome. Today, we're diving into something that's at the very heart of leadership, the difference between saying you're honest and actually proving it. We're going to look at an incredible ancient story that shows how real integrity isn't about the words you use, but how you act when the pressure's on.
So let's start with this really powerful declaration. Just picture this. You're standing in front of a powerful ruler, and your family's fate is completely in his hands. And you look him in the eye and say, "We are true men, we are not spies." Wow. That is a bold claim. It sounds like the very definition of integrity, right?
But that gets you thinking, doesn't it? Is just saying you're honest the same thing as actually being honest? Does making a confident, powerful statement automatically make it true? Well, that's the big question we're tackling today.
Okay, so to really get what's going on here, we have to look at the backstory. The men who said this were the sons of Jacob, and they were in Egypt talking to a very high-ranking official. But here's the thing. That official knew something they didn't think anyone knew. They were hiding a massive secret that had been eating them alive for years.
And right there, that's the heart of the problem. On the surface, they said all the right things. They put on a perfect performance of being honest men. But deep down, underneath it all, they were crushed by the weight of a lie they had been living for more than 20 years.
And this whole situation, it really brings us to a huge truth about character and leadership. When do you see what someone is really made of? It's not when things are easy. It's when the pressure is on, the stakes are high, and being honest is actually going to cost you something.
So, what are we even talking about when we say honesty? Here's a solid definition we can work with. It's way more than just not telling a lie. It's a consistent commitment to the truth in what you say, what you do, and what you mean, even and especially when it's hard. This chart breaks it down perfectly. Over on one side, you've got claimed integrity. It's all about words, it's about what's convenient, it's basically a performance. But on the other side, you've got proven integrity. That's about action, conviction, and true character. All right, so if you can't just trust what someone says, what do you look for? What are the real signs of genuine integrity? Let's break down 3 key hallmarks that really define an honest leader. And these are the very things the brothers in our story were missing. First up, number 1, transparency when the heat is on. Look, anyone can be open when things are going great. True transparency is about having the courage to be honest and vulnerable when you're under the microscope and the truth might not make you look good. And this quote, man, it just nails it. It talks about renouncing the hidden things. What does that mean? It means no secret agendas, no manipulation, no craftiness. It's just a commitment to being open and upfront about everything. Okay, so that leads us right into the second hallmark, and you'll see how these build on each other. It's all about consistency. In a truly honest leader's life, there's no daylight between what they say in public and what they do in private. What they claim to believe is what they actually practice. That's how you build trust. I love this piece of advice because it's so simple, so direct. Just let your yes be yes and your no be no. When your actions always back up your words, you don't need fancy speeches or complicated promises. Your word is enough. And that brings us to the final piece of this integrity puzzle, accountability. Real leaders don't play the blame game. They take ownership of their decisions and their actions, the good and the bad. They actually want to be in a position where they have to answer to others. You see, this principle is all about the power of just owning it. Trying to cover up your mistakes is a losing game. It never works in the long run. Real strength and progress come from confessing, taking responsibility, and then changing course. It's about owning the truth no matter what. So, what happens when these hallmarks are missing? What happens to all the secrets, the hidden guilt, and the carefully crafted performances? Well, that leads us to a principle that's as certain as the sunrise: inevitable exposure. This is a fundamental law, kind of like gravity, You can try to bury the truth, you can deny it, you can build your entire life around hiding it, but sooner or later, it always finds its way to the surface. Hiding things is only a temporary fix. And the source material really drives this home with some powerful lines. First, it gives this warning: be sure your sin will find you out. Notice that wording. It's not passive. It suggests the truth actively comes looking for you. And then it zooms out to the biggest picture possible. For God shall bring every work into judgment, with every secret thing. The idea here is that nothing, absolutely nothing, stays hidden forever. Everything comes under review eventually. And it all wraps up with this universal truth.
For there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, neither hid that shall not be known. It's just the nature of truth itself. It wants to be known.
Okay, so we've walked through this whole story, from a super confident claim all the way to the inevitable moment when the truth came out. Now it's time to turn the camera away from this ancient story and point it right at ourselves. So here's the bottom line. You can absolutely get by for a while on just a performance. You might even fool people for a season of your career or your life, but dishonesty, it has an expiration date. It just cannot survive when the truth finally walks into the room.
And this all brings us to one final question. This isn't about those brothers anymore. This is about you and me. In our own lives, at work, at home, in our communities, where do we need to stop just claiming we have integrity and